Hey guys, what's going on? Keith Allen with Material Indicators, and today a long-awaited, high demand tutorial. We're going to talk about trend precognition, one of our early indicators that we actually haven't talked about much. So we've had a lot of interest, especially, gosh, the past couple of weeks, and today it's just been like nonstop. I've been answering questions on this thing, so I thought it would be best to address this for as many people as I can. And of course, I'll be able to take some of your questions. If you've got questions, you can throw them in the chat. Otherwise, of course, you can, talk to us in the community on Telegram. If you're not yet in our community on Telegram, I certainly hope that you'll come join us. We've got a great group over there. And, it's free to join. Follow along on Twitter. Before we get started, some housekeeping, of course. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing we say, do, post, or have should be deemed as financial advice. Please, please, please manage your risk accordingly. Speak to a financial advisor. Never risk more than you can lose. This is a very volatile market, and it's a place you could lose some money if you're not careful. So we're going to dive into this thing, and we're going to cover really the basics of trend precognition, and also get into just a few different setups, different ways that you might use this tool. As I mentioned, we've got a phenomenal community on Telegram, and here's a link. If you can't copy this down right now, you can find that link on our Twitter page at @mi_algos. Hope you'll follow us there as well. Of course, if you like the content that you're seeing here and hearing here today, I hope that you will please comment, like, and subscribe. As I mentioned at the top, I will be happy to answer some of your questions along the way. And if I don't get to those, don't worry. I'm in the community on Telegram every single day, as are many others who can answer your questions. So happy to address that stuff there. Second here, let me find what I'm doing. Okay. So today we're going to talk about, the basic setup, how you put this indicator on your charts, and different ways that you might want to use it. There's actually a couple different indicators that come with the suite of trend precognition, and I'll get into that here in just a sec. Trend reversals for you. It is out of the box, pretty much optimized for high time frames, and that's what it's recommended for. But you can use this to really spot micro trend reversals as they've happened and as they are happening, and even you can configure it in a predictive manner so you can get some insight. It is fully customizable and configurable, as are most of our tools. So I'll get into how you can do that, and why and when you should or should not be messing with the settings here. Settings are for high time frames. A common question we get is, can I use this on altcoins? Well, the truth of the matter is, this is a TradingView indicator. We have it, it's a subscription service, obviously. So once you subscribe, you'll be able to access it by adding an indicator and pulling it down from the invite-only scripts. But you can use this with any chart you can view on TradingView. So that could be crypto, it could be Bitcoin, it could be alts, it could be stocks, it could be indexes, it could be gold. It could be whatever you want, whatever you're working with on TradingView. As I mentioned, and I want to reiterate this, default settings are for high time frames, and that's really where it's probably, it's definitely what it was designed for. But through years of experimentation, I found that I can use this in other time frames if I optimize the settings for what I'm trying to do, and I will show you how to do that in this tutorial. A very, very important fact here, really critical for you to remember, is that TradingView imposes a 1 candle delay on actually confirming and printing trend precognition signals. So you may see an arrow, a signal flash off and on through the course of that candle, but it will not be confirmed and printed unless it is still valid at the time that the adjacent candle, meaning the very next candle, closes. So we'll overlay a chart here in a second, and I'll show you, illustrate exactly how that works and how that plays out for you. And we also recommend that you use other technical analysis or other indicators or other factors to validate signals. Don't just take them blind. Get a feel for what you're doing. Certainly, if you're going to start doing this and trying to automate this, highly suggest that you back test, maybe paper trade a little bit your setups and see if it's going to produce the way that you. So there are actually two, when you go to the indicators, when you go to load an indicator on your screen, you're going to see two options for indicators. The top one, one says arrow only, and that's the one that's on the chart here. Another would be configurable as either an A2 plus or an A1 legacy, and the A2 plus is the one we recommend for the top chart and the middle chart. You can put this wherever you want, but what this does is these are based on these signals are based on exceeding a probability threshold that's set in the settings of the algo. Again, the defaults are for higher time frames, but if you want to get into some shorter time frames, you're going to want to set those relative to the time frame that you're trading, and I will show you how to optimize that. So the middle one here is showing you the probability score of these arrow signals, and the bottom one here, well, this is the A1 legacy algo, and it predicts trend changes before they actually happen. So you can get an idea of how things are playing out, and if it looks like you're really headed for trend reversal, if you want to be a little more preemptive rather than wait for the confirmation. And lastly, and these things are all going to make sense when I show it to you, these are the basic signals and setups and settings for the default settings. And you will again be able to go back and look at this on YouTube later if you want to see this, and it's in the documentation, and that documentation is actually being put on the website, so it's easier for you to find. We do have a knowledge base on Telegram that you can navigate to that also makes it easy to find some of this stuff. So let's get into a chart here and actually install it on a chart and see what it looks like and see how it works. Let me just make sure that I haven't got any comments in here. Through this one more time here. So this is the arrow only, and I'm going to show you how I added it to the chart and go through this one more time real quickly. So let me take it out and add it back in. Okay, so to add trend precognition to your chart, to add any of these indicators to your chart, you simply go to add indicators just like you would on any other indicator. Only since this is a subscription service, you have to go to invite only scripts, and you'll add them from down here. So the arrow only is the one with the on chart overlays. The other version, you can open it as many times as you want, add it as many times as you want to get the different algos on your chart. So those are already there. So let me add the arrow only version. And you can see I've just added the other version twice here with different algos selected to put the other indicators on the chart. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have the right algo selected. And for the arrow chart, my favorite is the A2 plus probability score, and that's the one that we recommend you use for your on chart. This basically gives you these signals based on meeting a probability threshold. This version right here, which is also, as you can see down here, set to A2 plus probability, gives you a sense of what the strength of these signals are, right? So you can tell two ways you can tell the strength of a signal. You can tell by the length of the arrow. Longer arrow is a stronger signal. And if you want to get granular with it, you can look here and see how the signals score. It's displayed here, but also if you just scroll, arrow over it, you can see it on the right-hand side of what that level is, right? So in this case, for example, this short signal is 57.4. Down here, this is the predictive version, and this is set to A1 legacy. Now, we're still on the default settings here. We're looking at a monthly right now, and these default settings are really ideal for longer time frames. So as I was mentioning before, what you couldn't see before, how things are shaping up in this market right now. It looks like, as you can see, we had a short signal on the local top here, and I talked at the beginning about the candle lag. So this signal showed up on and off, flashed on and off throughout the month of April. It was not, and May. It was not actually printed and confirmed here until this May candle closed because of the one candle lag that TradingView imposes on this indicator. So we had to wait to get a confirmation on the valid signal. Now, if you wanted to be a little early on your short or on your exit or on your de-risking, you could have looked at the A1 algo down here and seen how things looked. Now, where this marks and predicts a trend reversal, this black line here is the predictive tool, and it moves kind of like in the same manner an RSI indicator would. And to see what all these are, you could scroll over and you can see the legend of all of the different colors here. The really important one to be looking at is the black one, and it's showing, or it showed us back in March that trend was crossing downward. This blue dashed line here is the reversal line, right? So when it's going down, you get a short. When it goes up across that, you get a long. So in this instance, even though the A2 plus didn't print the signal until months later because we had to wait for the candle lag, this signal came in sooner, right? You can see where it crossed below the trend, and that was an indication that things were going to change here. So you could have de-risked right here based on this signal, and it gives you a little dot here for a short, red dot for a short, green dot for a long. So had you been looking at that, had I been looking at that, I would have started de-risking up in this range, even though we were all loving trading in that range and expected a breakout. Now, let's see where we're at today and where things seem to be going. Okay, let's if we look at this, and it's because I have it compressed, it's a little difficult to see, so I'm going to expand it right now. And if you expand this view, you can see it actually looks like it's actually bounced off of, I won't call that the bottom, but it's now indicating a directional change, not necessarily calling it as a reversal change until it crosses this blue line, right? The blue dotted line. But it is clearly taking a step in that direction. So if you wanted to be super early, you may, you'd want to be watching this. So let's take it now to a weekly. On the weekly, it says we've already crossed that line and we have seen a change. Let's go look at the chart now. Weekly suggesting that there is a change, trend reversal already in play since the week of May 24th. We also had a long signal here, and we had another signal here. These are not especially strong signals, but as I said in the beginning, the length and strength of these signals does not refer to how large the move is going to be. It merely refers to the strength, the probability, and likelihood that the move is going to play out. It could reverse in the very next candle. So again, this A2 plus gives the score of these signals, and this A1 shows a trend reversal On the weekly, it shows that the monthly is headed in the right direction for bulls. But on the daily, as we sit here and contemplate what's happening, we saw over 100 million in support for the range that we're trading in right now start to evaporate. And so we haven't seen buying come in as strong as we thought we would when we saw that liquidity resting there. And the predictive algorithm is still pointing downward on the daily. Already long on the weekly and heading in that direction on the monthly. Okay, so now what I want to do is first check and see if we've got any questions, and then run into how to adjust this thing for intraday timeframes. Okay, so a lot of guys and girls in the community talking about and testing it and trying it out in different timeframes and asking what is the optimal one. As I said at the top, Fred designed this thing for high timeframes, but as we like to do with every one of our tools, we get under the hood, we play with it, and see what's possible. So let me show you what I have discovered through testing and playing with this algorithm in a number of ways to use it on an intraday chart. So we're here now on a monthly. Let's go to a different time frame, and I'm going to keep the arrows, and just so I can get into a bigger chart, I'm going to just look at the main arrow chart here, and I'm going to expand out so we can get a better feel for what's going on. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I don't like to see a lot of candles. I mean, a lot of noise on the chart. I like it clean, or as clean as I can get it. And I don't want a ton of signals. I want the most accurate signals. So when you look here, you see back-to-back signals here. This is now on a 4-hour chart. You see back-to-back signals, some stronger than others, but I don't necessarily want to take every one. I want to take the best ones. I want the ones that are coming from places that have clear, positive directional moves, right? This looks like a very strong signal to me. This looks like a strong signal to me. This looks like a strong signal to me. Right? Some great signals here. Do I want this one and this one, or do I want just this one? That's up to you. It depends on how you want to use the chart. I mean, how you want to use the tool. The one thing I will caution you about is we do not recommend that you use short signals to close longs and vice versa. And the reason for that is because the candle lag. So if you're going to attempt to use this in an automated manner, I suggest that you pick your static targets, whether you have and probably the best way to do that is through technical analysis and maybe looking at liquidity on fire charts, because you can get a better idea of where where resistance is going to be, and that can certainly be helpful, right? So to show you what I mean, and for those of you who may not be familiar with fire charts, let me show you what that would look like. If you wanted to, let me just switch it back here, go to another screen. If you wanted to use fire charts, all you really have to do is look at where your support and resistance areas are, right? And let's get a refresh on this screen and see how things are shaping up. Okay, so if you wanted to pick your targets on fire charts, you could be conservative in this area, basically looking for where the resistance is to figure out the move. or maybe you just want to do short scalps and pick up, smaller trades and do it in higher frequency. However you want to use it is up to you. So now let me go back to that main chart and show you how we can optimize for whatever time frame you want to set this in. So we're using this probability score, right? And these are the defaults. So I want you to watch what happens when I adjust. So I've gone to the settings tool, and I'm going to adjust the probability score. Let's try a 50. Let's try a 50-50 and see what that looks like. Okay. And sometimes you have to actually hit OK to have those changes take place. So I've now cleaned up the chart. I've reduced the number of signals. And I've got fewer signals. The signals I've got look pretty solid. Let's see what these moves would be. Now, because we're talking about the candle lag, remember, this is a 4-hour chart. This signal does not print until this candle closes. So essentially, your price is going to be, if you're going to open on this signal, your price is going to be whatever the close price is on this candle. Okay, so that candle looks like it closed at 35,989. Let's see what that move would look like. 989. Okay, so there's 2.5% to this signal right here, and obviously you could go up to play that how you want. That's up to you. Solid move either way, but maybe you want even fewer signals. You ratchet up the probability score. So let's see what it looks like at 65%. Okay, now I have even fewer signals on the 4-hour. All right, I didn't get a signal here. I'd like to see one here. Very strong here. I would like to see one here. So maybe that's a little bit conservative for a 4-hour chart. But let's see what it looks like on a 1-hour chart. I use them frequently on a 1-hour chart to just help me with my on-the-fly decisions. Okay. So 65 seems still a little tight. Let's back it down to 62. And I will often set them in this range. That's a 62. Okay. So again, it's up to you. How many signals do you want? All those adjustments are a compromise. You're going to compromise frequency of signals for accuracy of signals. So you find the sweet spot that works for you in the time frame that you are trying to trade. Right? And you can get microscopic with it, right? You can get very granular with it. All right. I just bumped it down just a notch to see if that makes a difference. I'm getting good signal here, good signal here. Still would expect to see one in this range, but why didn't it print one? Well, there could be reasons in the algo of why it didn't show up there. It was indecisive at that level. But let's go to a lower setting. Let's go to 55 and see if that is a happy medium. All right, still not seeing it there. So maybe it just doesn't, maybe that area was not prime or decisive enough for it to print a solid signal with a probability of that high. Okay, so now when I take it to 50%, I see my signal there. Okay, so you see that I have reduced the probability threshold required And I'll now show the other chart. Show the other chart, right? I've reduced the probability threshold required, but I'm getting signals where I wanted to see one there. But the trade-off is I got more signals up here. So it's totally up to you. Frequency of signals versus accuracy of signals. Find the balance for the time frame that you're trading in, and you can use this and apply it to anything. Now, let's see what it looks like on what? Let's see. Someone showed me this today. I thought that looked pretty awesome. Gold. Check this out. I'm going to expand this. Now let's go back to a daily. I would use the when you're going back to daily, weekly, monthly, I would use the default settings. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to show you how you can have multiple setups on your chart so you don't have to keep changing the settings, right? I'm going to add, not a simple comparison. I'm going to add another indie. And again, you can add these as many times as you like to the chart. Okay, so here's my default settings to look at the longer time frame. And you can color code these, right? If you wanted to help yourself identify which one you had up at a glance, you could very simply change the colors to blue, whatever you want, right? Okay, and so you can have them both on. You'll see where they're overlaying on where they're overlapping when they're both giving the same signal on the same candle. But easier to just turn one on and one off and view them that way. Oop. Okay, so I turned the wrong one off. And you can view them that way. So in a nutshell, that's the overview on how to use this tool. You can get more info. What about the other parameters besides probability threshold? How do they affect the algo? You want to be more specific, Bedois, on what you mean about the other parameters? And if you want to dive into the documentation, you can get down to the nitty gritty of how the smoothing curves work and how the algo works under the hood. But for basic use and how most people are going to use this thing, it's pretty simple, right? Load the chart, pick the algo you want to use, adjust your settings for the time frame. If you want to use this to automate and create an alert for it, that's also very easy to do, just as you would do with any other alert that you're setting up for TradingView. You merely go to add alert, and your condition on this is going to be trend precognition. You're going to want a long signal on your A2 plus. You want it once per bar close. Remember, per bar close, because it could flash off and on throughout the candle. And then you're going to put your commands in here. Pretty simple. So hopefully that answers your questions. If you do have more questions, again, I'll point you to the knowledge base on Telegram. The link to that is on our website, and as is the documentation. And you can, of course, chat it up with us in the Telegram group, because lots of folks in there, including Fred, who wrote these algos, who can give you some nitty gritty details if you need more of that. Appreciate you spending some time. Sorry for the glitch at the top. Seems to be a pattern with me. I got to get over that. It's been too long since I've done one of these tutorials, and we got to keep doing them more frequently. If you want to find this or our other tools, by all means, please check us out at materialindicators.com. We've got a suite of trading tools over there that can help you, and that is a growing suite. A lot in the works here, for sure. So I hope, especially now that Fred has got to work full time with us. So we're very, very excited about that. If you like the content, please do me a favor and drop a comment, a like, and subscribe to in perpetuity. Again, nothing I have said, done, or shared is trading advice. Please be careful. It's a very volatile market. Well, it's about to be a very volatile market. We've been pretty sideways here for the past couple of weeks, but I think that's about to shake up pretty soon. If you have not yet joined us, please join us in our global community of traders on Telegram, and follow along on Twitter at @mi_algos. You can get the link into the Telegram group from our profile page up there as well. My name's Keith Allen from Material Indicators. I appreciate you joining us. We'll see you in the Telegram group pretty soon. Thanks.